Well, it's the next night, and now it's even better because I'm here probably 2 hours after work. It's dark, and it's raining. And I need to lay on the ground, the wet ground under the car. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and swap out this panel that I made yesterday, bolt it on the car so I can actually dictate where the channel is going to run through over to the exhaust, and start making shit. So, let's get to it, huh? At the side of the car. So now I can actually show you guys why I made these side skirts the way I did in 3 chunks like this, because it's just that easy. Of 2 Allens, that panel's out. There is a part right here. There's a big like foot basically they put on the car to be able to pick this thing up with a 2-post lift. And there's one up at the front of the car too. And like I said, I made another little panel like that because there's 3. So I can take that front piece off, take that piece off, and it's easy to get this thing up on a 2-post lift. And the problem with running the side exit exhaust normally is the way it has to come through, it puts it, when the lift arm comes through to get to that foot, the exhaust is in the way. And you can't pick the damn thing up, or you have to do some weird stuff to pick it up, and I don't like that. That's why I want to make that section of the exhaust part of this, probably to about here, about that long. So that way when I take this off, I still have access to it, doesn't get in the way. Cool stuff. Anyhow. Set in. Yeah, not terrible. I need to. No, it's pretty well straight there. Alright, now I can bring you guys in a little closer and actually see the distance where I've got to go with the exhaust. I don't know if y'all can see him. Odie's here to say hi. On Bubba. Alright, so now you can actually see what I'm working with here. Which, basically I'm going to have this guy kind of taper down a little bit, and then the bottom will bring straight back. We can actually see the exhaust pipe straight back there where it's pointed down. Kind of hard to see on camera, but it's pretty well centered in the actual hole that I made. But anyways, I'm gonna have to take tubing from there and run it straight out the side here. But now I guess I'm gonna get some poster board and start making some templates here as to how I'm going to make sort of a squared funnel, so to speak, that the exhaust will go into. Okay, now we're in the light here, and I can actually see what the hell's going on. So these are the pieces that I had made up under there, this being the actual curve of the rocker underneath the car. The idea is, here's my base, these are going to be my sides. Obviously just transfer the template over to paper, over to the aluminum. So, I'm going to cut this guy out, fold these sides up, then I can go out there and mock it up on the car and hold it up to it and see if I need to trim these sides up here a little bit more or not, and tweak the end, because this is going to have to kind of mold into a circle down at the end for the exhaust. But yeah, just need to get that piece cut out and bent up first, and then we'll go from there. figure out a way to hold this and still get a clean cut. Wow, that looks terrible. That's alright though, because I'm going to hit that with a grinder and hammer and shape, and it's going to get a lot uglier before it starts looking nice. You want this cut here to be straight though. That one needs to look halfway decent. Alright, let's bend some stuff. Alright, now it's actually starting to look like something. This is what's going to meet up against the lower side skirt panel that I had already made. But I need to shape this in a little bit more. Again, this has got to turn into a circle back here. But anyhow, now pretty much in a spot to where I can go and set this up against the car and start marking out with a Sharpie where I need to trim and change. And once I get these, how they fit nice against the bottom of the car, then I'll go and cut out another one of that plate, which I'll curve to match the top, run a bead down both sides, and then I can start massaging and working that section to make it so an exhaust tube will actually mate up to it. Then I can weld it to the actual side skirt. So, next. Alright, so now you guys can actually see a little bit better what I'm trying to achieve here. So now I've got that nice channel in there, and I've got my lines marked, which I just literally ran a Sharpie along the edge of the rocker panel there. Just the thickness of the pen gives me plenty of clearance there. So I'm going to trim both sides off at my Sharpie line there, and then I can make the top plate, buzz that together, come back out, check it, and then I can take this off and weld it to the side skirt. You actually see the exhaust pretty well centered back there, so this is going to work out pretty nice. How do I want to go about this? Get over here on this one, not completely in the camera. This is probably going to be terrible because, yeah, this is not a good angle for me to get a clean line, but I'm going to give it a shot anyways. And Worst case, I'll clean it up with a grinder. But who am I kidding? I was going to clean it up with a grinder no matter what, so. Anyways. This is just to rough it out anyways. Cool. I'm going to shape that in a little bit. Might actually have something to work with. Clearly you guys don't want like 10 or 15 minutes of just that. So I'm going to go on ahead and fast forward here, grind this out, and I'll show you guys when it's all smooth and looks good. How about that? And just like that, now it actually looks like something. So that's what's going to made up to it. I just need to make my top panel. And then once I make that top piece, then I can start working and shaping the metal back here. So it'll actually adapt down to I think it's a 2.5 inch tube. But yeah, that's what we got so far. And go test fit it on the car and make sure this is going to work before I go and weld on the top piece. And then, so if I weld it on now and it doesn't fit, then it's kind of hosed. So always check, double check, triple check, recheck, check it again. Right before you weld it, check it again. You can never be sure, so keep checking. Make it right. Okay, I'll be right back. And this is why we always double, triple, and quad check. And it's still not quite enough. I need to trim it a little bit more. But we're almost there. Okay, so now that I've got this piece pretty much the way I want it, now I need to make my top to close this guy in, which was pretty easy of just stick it on some metal, trace it out. Leave a little bit of slack because I'm going to have to curve it so it'll be slightly longer than just a flat piece. But anyways, I'm going to plasma that out real quick. Then I can stick it to slip roll, which is actually conveniently part of the brake that I use to bend this. And kind of give it a little bit of a curve. And yeah, we'll go from there. And we're back. I figured you guys didn't want to see me run the damn plasma cutter even more. But this is going to be my top plate, as usual. Cleaned it all up with the DA sander. Get everything off of it because aluminum does not like to weld if there's anything on it. Like, it needs to be cleaned. If there's any impurities or oils, for some reason, aluminum is way more susceptible to, what's the term? Porosity, where you get like air pockets and bubbles and stuff in the weld and it just comes out like crap. Yeah, it's the material needs to be clean, especially when you're TIG welding. I'm just going to be using an aluminum spool gun, the aluminum MIG, which doesn't produce the greatest welds, but this ain't structural. It'll look decent and I'll be able to shape it all in and make it strong. So now I'm going to start shaping this piece so it actually has a little curve to it to match. Then I can weld it on either corner. Once that's all set, I'll check it again underneath the car, and then I'll actually weld it to the side skirt that I made yesterday. And yeah, get pretty far along there. Still got to figure out what I'm going to do for adapting this to a 2.5 inch pipe. I may make that part out of steel and do like a slip joint, kind of like the muffler for a dirt bike or something like that. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Alright, so now that I put this guy through the slip roll, and I just rolled the front edge up here, and a little bit at the back, then I'm having to kind of shape the corners in by hand, but I am going to be reshaping that like crazy. But for anybody that hasn't seen how a slip roll works and what it does, I'll jump over and run a little piece through in a minute. But anyhow, I'm sure a lot of the other guys on here are probably fabricators and build stuff for a living, or have seen numerous other YouTubers using a slip roll before. But anyhow, that's what I got so far. It's pretty darn close, so I'm going to go on ahead from here is put a couple of tacks up here, and then probably use body hammers to kind of shape it in, and start at this end and then just kind of work my way back, just kind of tack welding and shaping until it all fits the way I want. Then I'll finish weld both sides. I may or may not grind and shape it down a little bit, just depends on how the welds come out. And then I can start hammering and shaping this section here and try to make that round. I'll probably get in here at the body hammer and shape that down and see what I can do with it. Otherwise, I'll just go through and manipulate the steel tube that's going to come into it and turn it into a square over there so it just kind of fits in it. But yeah, we'll see. Okay, so I'm not shy. It's aluminum MIG. I'm not really great at it, but it's a whole bunch of tack welds all stacked up. Made it solid. I'm definitely going to grind this down and shape it all in to make it look good, but I got decent penetration. You can see little blobs in there, so it's solid enough to where I can shape it all in and smooth it down and make it look good. If I was better, I would go on ahead and TIG weld all this, but yeah, boss man needs to teach me how to run the TIG because he knows how to do that. I know how to operate a TIG welder. I would never say I'm a TIG welder though. I just know how the machine works, and I am nowhere near good enough with that machine to be able to say I'm a TIG welder. I can run a MIG like nobody's business, but the aluminum MIG, not so much. I need more practice on this. At one time I got halfway decent with it, but anyhow, I'm going to clean this up a little bit more, then we'll go and make the two pieces one piece. Alright, and now we actually have something. So I'm going to go check it again, make sure that's going to sit up underneath the car the way I want it to, and then I can start messing with the end and weld this guy all together. Finish it off. A couple little imperfections, but that's fine because this is going to be under the car facing the pinch weld. Doesn't need to be the prettiest, it just needs to be strong. And that's plenty strong enough considering it's just an aluminum exhaust tip. So, alright, on to the next part. And that is what we've got. I think that's going to work out pretty good. Alright, now I can take it off of there and weld the two pieces together and be able to say I made a thing today. Okay, now after some welding, some sanding, a little bit of prep work, I actually got something that actually looks like something. I did say earlier, you know, not a big fan of aluminum MIG welding. Doesn't always come out the best, but with a little bit of practice, which I did have some time off camera to do, you can do like decent welds with an aluminum MIG. Like, I'm not great at it. I'm not gonna like, oh, this is the gold standard. Like, no, I just know how to use the machine. It's not, I'm not bragging about my welds or anything. They're just, hey, it's gonna hold. It's it ain't, you know, I would say it's not SEMA show quality, but by today's standards, well, that is SEMA show quality. If not, honestly, I think it's a little too nice for SEMA nowadays. But anyhow, so now I need to make, I think what I'm going to end up doing is just doing the steel side where it crimps down into a square to slide into this guy. It's just so much easier than working the aluminum, and we're looking at volume here, and it'll work. So anyhow, bottom side I went on ahead and ground down, sanded the whole thing. So now I guess I'll go kind of test fit it on the car, see how it looks, which I'm alright with it. I think it looks good enough. There's some little bit of pitting down here in the sides from spatter from the aluminum MIG. They are not very clean, but it gets the job done. Or at least until I actually get good with a TIG welder, and then, oh yeah, it's the bar gets raised after that. So I'm going to go slap this on the car real quick, and I'll catch back up with you in a minute. Alright, and that's what we got. think that's gonna work out pretty good. Oh man, that was a good bit of work today. That's where the exhaust going to come through. I think might have said it already earlier. I'm just going to go on ahead and I'll make the adapter side of it on the actual exhaust pipe rather than on the box end of this. And we'll just call it good. But anyhow, I've been here since 7. Sun went down a long time ago. I'm going to swap that guy back out to the black one because I'm not ready to run that solid yet. Go get cleaned up, close up, lock up, figure out what I'm going to do for dinner because it's probably like 11, 12 o'clock already. So, cook out. Anyhow, y'all have a good one. I'm out of here. Calling it a night. See ya.